how many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.
What's going on, everybody? Marco here from 14P, and I am bringing you Week 11 start sits at wide receiver. Before I jump into our wide receivers, I got 5 of them for you. I am telling you guys quickly about our jersey giveaway that is happening. If you want to win or a chance to win a DeAndre Swift signed jersey or a Lamar Jackson signed jersey, make sure you are subscribed to this channel where you're watching this, 14 Personnel, and send a screenshot showing you're subscribed to @14P_fantasy on Twitter. The winner will be announced in a couple of weeks on November 29th, just after Thanksgiving. And these jerseys are sick. You want to win these things. We got them from Pristine Auction, so thank you, Pristine Auction. But it's going to be an awesome giveaway, and you can sign up, and it's absolutely free to send us a DM showing you subscribed. So make sure you subscribe to this channel. Follow us over on Twitter @14P_fantasy, or follow me on Twitter. If you have questions, you can DM me @Marco_14P. All right, I got 5 wide receivers for you for start sits, and I am bringing the first one, Rashod Bateman versus the Chicago Bears. Right now, he's a wide receiver 2 for Week 11, but you need to keep an eye on Hollywood Brown. He's missed a couple practices. It looks like he's got a thigh issue. We're not sure if it's a contusion or what's going on with Hollywood Brown. But if Hollywood sits, Rashod Bateman is a wide receiver 2 who has wide receiver 1 upside. I'm in a league where I have a decision between Rashod Bateman and Elijah Mitchell. Right now, they're not sure if Elijah Mitchell is going to play. But even if Elijah Mitchell plays this week, if Hollywood Brown is out, Rashod Bateman gets the start over Elijah Mitchell for me, even with a great matchup for Mitchell. Because if Bateman's the number 1 target on this team and probably one of the few targets, he's almost a lock to see 10 to 13, 14 targets in a game where the Chicago secondary has been weak against fantasy wide receivers. He could flirt with top 12 numbers. Right now, if Hollywood sits, I've got him as my wide receiver 16 on the week. And if Hollywood plays, I still have him as a top 21 wide receiver. I've got him as my wide receiver 21. So he's right in that wide receiver 2 conversation. So Rashod Bateman, he's got a great schedule the rest of the way. So if for some reason he's sitting on your waivers, go scoop him up. But if he's on your bench, put him in your lineups this week. And if you've got questions about who you should start him over, hit me up on Twitter @Marco_14P. All right, we're going to go to the next guy on the list, Devonta Smith. If you watch the quarterbacks start sit episode or video that I released today as well, you understand why I'm saying sit Devonta Smith. He's coming off a couple really good games for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he is going to be a special player. Well, I think the issue for him in Week 11 is Jalen Hurts. He's been a little inconsistent as a passer. He takes advantages of good matchups, but he doesn't really have the opportunity to take advantage of that in this game. I know it looks green if you're on Sleeper or Yahoo or whatever, but it's not as easy as the matchup looks. The secondary for the New Orleans Saints has been much better, and the run D for the New Orleans Saints has been tremendous, which is going to limit what Jalen Hurts can do on the ground, which means it's going to limit what he can do as a passer as well. And so if they've turned him into a one-dimensional player, that means that they can basically make him throw the ball. And Jalen Hurts throwing the ball isn't always that great. We've seen it 2 games this year, and for fantasy, it's been a dud. You know, he's been inconsistent. And I think this is a team that's going to try to run with people outside of Jalen Hurts, and who knows what happens in this one, but I think it's going to be an ugly game for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think Devonta Smith gets the rare sit in Week 11. All right, next, Robby Anderson, and he's a guy who really shouldn't even be on rosters. I know a lot of people dropped him. Sure, you can add him if you think he might get something going with Cam, but he's a sit for me for a couple of reasons. One, I think he's probably the 3rd best wide receiver on this team. He's probably should be 4th in targets, but he did have a nice game when Cam came in for those few plays, and people were saying, is Cam going to make Robby Anderson a thing again? He might. I'm not willing to risk putting Robby Anderson in my lineups. In Cam's first week back, remember, he played with DJ Moore. He still can create chemistry with DJ Moore. I think it's going to be a DJ Moore game, a Christian McCaffrey game, a Cam Newton game. I don't think it's going to be a Robby Anderson game. So if you've picked him up, that's fine. You can hold on to him for a few weeks, but throw him on your bench. Let's see what happens when it comes to shaking out what targets Cam Newton's going to attribute to each of these pass catchers. All right, the next one on my list is Brandon Aiyuk versus Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a great matchup, but Aiyuk is seeing 4 to 6 targets a game. And usually if I'm going to be excited about starting a wide receiver, 6 targets is kind of like the floor for me. So if you're seeing 4 to 6, if you play in deeper leagues, you have 2 flex spots, I'm okay throwing Brandon Aiyuk out there. If you don't have any other options, I'm okay putting him in your flex if you're desperate. But even in a good matchup, I'm worried that they're just not going to really need Brandon Aiyuk. That's kind of been the case. Deebo Samuel's been their guy. And, Jeff Wilson, Elijah Mitchell, whoever is the running back, they're going to be able to run on the Jacksonville Jaguars. And so Aiyuk maybe sees 4 to 6 targets, like I said, and I think he's at a low-end flex, high-end flex 2 spot for your rosters. All right. Last guy I want to talk about is Elijah Moore versus the Miami Dolphins, who have been a weirdly kind of a sieve defense for fantasy wide receivers. So I've got him right now as a flex spot, and that's solely because Joe Flacco's in the game. We don't know exactly how he's going to utilize these wide receivers. Corey Davis will probably be healthy again in this one, which is going to hurt Elijah Moore. He's not seeing the targets we were hoping that he would see on this offense. We thought that he would probably be the guy who took most of the targets pretty quickly on this offense. That hasn't been the case. So I think he's going to see enough targets to warrant flex value. I would play Elijah Moore over Brandon Aiyuk this week. I know that might be a little controversial, but I think he can do a little bit more against this defense, and I think he might be a little bit more important to the offense than what Brandon Aiyuk is. And who knows? Maybe Joe Flacco finds him and falls in love with him, and you could have a guy who you have in your flex who ends up as a wide receiver too. So I like Elijah Moore this week as a flex with some upside. All right, guys. Well, thank you for hanging out. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. DM us on Twitter so you can get a chance to win the Swift and Lamar Jackson signed jerseys. Also, follow me on Twitter at Marco_14P. I can answer any start-sit questions throughout the week that you have, and I'm also always on Sundays to answer your questions as well. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
How many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.